So I wait for some people to join the live stream. Hello everybody, I'm Niall Sebastian Power-Sieger. That's for the people which click later on the video and see it from the beginning on. So I'm doing a Facebook live stream with this video, and I'm gonna explain a few things even if there are not so many visitors at that moment in time. I have the one camera which is doing the live stream for my Facebook account, which is Niall, Niall, Power, like the power, and Sieger, which is Sieger. So I'm Niall Sebastian Power-Sieger, and I'm in Bonn, Germany at that moment in time, and I'm one of the living humans who's able to communicate with ghosts, or to be more specific, with creatures which have lived as human beings before and which have lost their own human body, so their human body died. And I'm able to communicate with these creatures in a way that they can use also methods to present themselves and to communicate with me in a way that you, the people which are watching the video, can understand it and see it if you watch carefully and if you start to learn how they can communicate. For example, behind this window you see this huge tree, and you have realized maybe in the beginning of the live video that I started to use that camera as well to film the tree. Later on my Facebook account you will see other videos uploaded later in the night, this night. Other videos where you can see that camera view and the camera view of another camera, which is this one. So you always have more than one video. You have the live video and the other documentations of the same moment, which will be uploaded on my Facebook account later. I repeat, the Facebook account is Niall Power-Sieger. Niall, power like the power, Sieger is Sieger. So as I said, I can communicate with creatures which have lived as human beings before. I'm going to explain to you now how they can communicate with me, but how they can also communicate visible for you, towards you, the people which are watching the video. So if you watch this video and if you realize the situation, you will witness how ghosts gonna communicate with you by using the natural environment and by using wind, by canalizing wind to this huge tree in front of that window, and by reacting to questions I gonna ask these creatures which have lived as human beings before. So creatures which you can't see because they have not a human body anymore, and because of that they use the wind and they can canalize it to the plant. Watch, the tree is quiet now, more quiet than before. Now they're gonna use a higher wind level, and they're gonna trigger the wind level, and they're gonna shake that tree a little bit for you. So with the higher wind level you're gonna see more movement in the tree, and they will start to do so now. Watch this. Now you see the wind is getting canalized to the tree, and you can see more movement in the tree if you watch closely. See, they put wind in the tree, and now the tree is moving into this direction because I did put my hand here. That is very specific communication, and it is very important that you, the people which are watching the video, do understand when I upload data to the internet, where I present you universal communication with other creatures, so other individuals, not me, other individuals which have lived as human beings before. If you want to understand them, please, when I do universal communication, learn to outread and understand to watch the plant. In that case, this tree, because these creatures which have lived as human beings before, which do not have a human body anymore, gonna use the tree and the wind to present you the answers and their point, how they see things, and that's important to understand. These creatures did canalize more wind when I said that, and I'm gonna explain something to you. It's a little bit complex, so please, the first point is, for example, if I communicate, and I just take an example now, Okay, if I would communicate with my mom now, the creature which have lived as my mom, my mother, and which have lost her human body because the human body died. I can ask her, for example, specific questions, and she can say yes by using a higher wind level. Or when I communicate with her in a way that I speak something out, if she wants me to realize that she agrees to something I speak out, she can also canalize the wind specific to the tree and use a higher wind level at that moment in time when I finish the sentence, for example. So then she's agreeing specific. And my mom is just one example, because many creatures which have lived as human beings before, potentially your ancestors, potentially the creatures which belong to your family and which have lost their human body. So many creatures like them can use the natural environment and canalize the wind very specific to communicate with humans like me, which have learned to use that communication system to outread it, but only when the symbiosis support the situation that they're able to use the natural environment in total to do so specific. And when I said specific, you could see that the wind level was triggered more and more. And especially when I said specific, if you go back in the video just to check a specific point, you could see that I canalized the wind also very specific and raised it to a higher wind level. So action and reaction is the principle of the communication, because it's a principle which is agreed on, because that makes it possible for me, a living human, also when I communicate with these creatures, that they can answer so specific that I can explain it to you and make it transparent to you. So if you watch the video, please do understand, if you want to understand the ghosts or the creatures which have lived as human beings before and their opinion, please always watch the plans. And the reaction is, if they want to agree to something I speak out specific, they can use a higher wind level and canalize that wind, which is stronger than the other wind, to the tree behind me, and then you see more movement in the tree. And the more movement you see is the signal for you, the people which are watching the video, that the creature I'm communicating with told you, yes, I agree to something Niall spoke out. That's the way you can understand. Okay, and you see they triggered the wind again to agree to that. Now I request to have it more specific for you, the people. Watch where my hand is, and you see they do canalize more wind in this area, and I ask specific, can you repeat that? Can you shake that part of the tree a little bit for the people, if you can agree to what I said, that if the people want to understand the creatures which have lived as human beings before, which have lost their human body, but which are using the wind, then the people have to understand they have to watch the plan to get your opinion. And now you can see, after I finish the sentence, that they're really specific, use strong wind and canalize it to shake this tree, also in the area where my hand was pointing at, very specific. Look at this, to make that point very clear to you, the people which are watching the video. Okay, you can hear, even if the window is closed, I'm gonna open it. It's a very strong wind level for you, the people, to understand. Okay, I'm gonna use a camera, the live cam, to present you the area, and I'm gonna do it with the other camera later. So there you see houses in the background. You see how small these houses are compared to this huge tree. And now you hear when specific on something is agreed, the wind level they use to shake that huge tree like that. You could even hear other noises. That's because the wind is shaking stuff around down there. So I'm going to use the other camera as I explained, because later I'm going to upload, as I told you, other video material where the same moment is filmed, but with these other cameras. So you can watch a few videos to understand it from the same moment, to understand the principle of the communication. Or if you want to check something in more details, The creators agree because this camera is just filming the tree, not me. The live camera is also filming me. So if you later watch the other split screen video, you have one screen just presenting you the tree, one part of the screen, and the other camera is filming like the live camera close to that, okay? And in that way you can also check very specific the situation later, in case you cannot see everything at the first moment, or in case you missed something, or in case you want to see, for example, now the camera is filming that window and you can see a lot of movement, but you cannot see the crown of the tree, the top. With this camera it is also filming the top of the tree, so you have later more and more options, okay, to check it. So this video material, I want people to understand that creatures which have lived as human beings before, they often want to communicate with living humans, but because they do not have a human body anymore, they are also very interested, so your ancestors are potentially interested in producing video material which brings proof of their existence for you, and which brings proof as best as possible regarding their identification for you, the people which are watching the videos, and for their family members in case they watch the videos. So I'm often in the situation that I'm filming documentations where creatures which have lived as human beings before, which have lost their own human body, try to reach their living families, their living family members, and where they're trying to produce video material with me for their living family members. And in this video, they often communicate stuff towards their living family members and towards the public. And what have been communicated in the past is very often that ancestors, if they produce documentations where they present themselves for their living family members, that they invite their living family members to check their identity, to send questions only they as individuals can solve, or where it's most likely that if somebody can solve the question, it have to be a specific individual. So living humans should understand, because your ancestors do not have a human body anymore, in case they would contact me, I would request from you questions to check their identity, because you didn't know your ancestors for a long time, potentially. For example, if your grandma died and you didn't know her during your lifetime, it's easy for you to ask the right questions to check her identity. And that's a huge topic, because often people do not understand that. And if they get invited from creatures which have lived as human beings before to send questions so that these creatures then can bring proof regarding their identity, then the living family members often do not send the questions. And that's totally sad. You can see in the background that this tree is moving a lot more. The other camera is capturing that as well. When I spoke the last part, the live video stopped filming. So I'm gonna start another live video. If I can. Just give me a moment. Give me a moment, please. The live stream broke down, which is very sad. And I cannot add the public anymore. I have to end the video because Facebook blocked for me the option to do live streams. I can try to start a live stream, but I cannot stream in public. So that's the situation at that moment. So I'm sorry, but I can do no live stream. I'm gonna start another video later in case I can do a live stream, and I'm gonna upload this video material even if the live stream stopped them. So you at least get the doculator with the other two film parts, and what I was streamed live you can find on Niall Power Ziga. I hope that problem will be fixed soon. And I hope that the governments are not blocking my data, because I think it's important information for all the people which would like to communicate with their own ancestors. But because creatures which have lived as human beings before, so ancestors, potentially your ancestors, because they are able to transfer a lot of information, there are also a lot of people on planet Earth which are not interested in a situation that you potentially could learn to communicate with your own ancestors. So hopefully hopefully I can do another live stream later, and I have to wait what's going on Facebook. Thank you very much for watching so far. You're Niall Sebastian Power Ziga, and I'm gonna produce another video documentation, or maybe also today. I'm gonna upload it later to the internet. Thanks for watching.